Welcome to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be painting the interior and the roll cage of a Porsche Boxster. So stay tuned. Alright, so we got this Porsche Boxster all loaded up. It's got a new cage in it. We're going to be painting the interior. Let's give it a look. We're going to be painting the inside of the doors, the bars, and all the driver's compartment interior gray. We're all loaded up. Let's get this thing back to the shop and start working on it. We're going to be painting the interior and the roll cage of this Boxster a light gray. And the exterior of the car is not going to get painted at all or wrapped. So in order to prevent any of that gray overspray from getting on the outside panels, we're going to spray some slime on it. And we've got it all taped off now. We just got to spray the slime on the outside panels. And what slime is basically is a clear film that you spray on the car, and it protects it from overspray. And then when you want to take that film off, you just put water on there and the film turns into soap and it just washes right off. Alright, so we got the slime sprayed on here, and you really can't see it. It's just a clear, slight little clear film that protects the paint from any overspray. So it doesn't even really probably show up on camera, but it is on there, and it's definitely better than wet sanding and buffing trying to get overspray off these outside panels, because I hate buffing. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So let's get the plastic off of it. We'll get the doors taken off, and I can turn my brother loose inside of it with a red Scotch-Brite and some sandpaper. Get it all sanded and scuffed. We've got the majority of the sanding done on this Boxster, so now we can put it in the paint booth and start cleaning it up by vacuuming and blowing out the interior. And once we've done that, we can start wiping it down and getting it ready to tape up. Almost forgot about these doors. We've got to get these things sanded, put in the booth, and taped up as well. Alright, so these ducts here are kind of a plastic rubbery material, and I don't want to put paint on them, so we're going to tape them up. And they're basically the air ducts that come from the outside of the quarter panel that go into the engine bay. Alright, so we got the bars all scuffed on this car, and I left a spot here. You can see that I did not sand or scuff this portion. You can see the difference between the sanded and the unsanded. This is a coating that they put on these bars for basically corrosion protection during shipping and stuff like that. So you always want to sand these roll bars and get this coating off because you don't want to paint over that. Alright, so let's give this thing a walk around. Looks like everything is scuffed and taped up. The doors are all scuffed and taped up. So it is ready for us to start painting. So let's get some paint on this thing. The first thing we're going to be applying to this interior and roll cage is this Shopline epoxy primer. Now we're using the epoxy primer because it has excellent corrosion protection and adhesion properties. This Shopline epoxy comes in 3 different colors. It comes in the gray, comes in the black, it also comes in white. Now it mixes 2 to 1, you can see there. 2 to 1 with this hardener, and you can put 10% reducer with acetone. Now you can put this epoxy primer over a variety of different substrates. You can put it over clean and sanded primer, bare metal, bare galvanized steel, and a bare aluminum. You can also put it over sanded and cleaned OEM finishes. So let's get my paint suit on so we can go paint this thing. Let's go paint. Alright, so we've got our epoxy sprayed on there. We're going to give it about 15 minutes to flash off. And while we're waiting on it to flash off, we're going to go ahead and clean out our paint gun and get the single stage all mixed up, ready to spray on the car. This is the paint that we're going to be spraying on the interior of that car. It's a Shopline JAU, which is a direct gloss acrylic urethane, and it's a 4:1:1 mixing ratio. That means it's 4 parts of the color, 1 part of the hardener, and 1 part reducer. Direct gloss means it dries shiny. You don't have to put a clear coat on it. You've also heard me refer to it as a single stage. So basically you spray 2 coats of this on there. It has the UV protection built into it. There's no clear coat needed. Alright, so we've got the single stage mixed up. Let's go put it on the car. Alright, so I got the last coat of single stage sprayed on there. Let's go give that thing a walk around and look it over and make sure there's nothing I need to address before I clean out my paint gun. Let's go. Alright, so it looks pretty good. What we're looking for are dull spots, spots that aren't shiny, or spots that may not be covered that you can see through the single stage. But overall, this looks pretty good. Yep. I don't see anything that we need to address, so I'm going to get my gun cleaned out. We're going to let this dry overnight. Come back in the morning, get this thing untaped, hang the doors back on it. That way we can get it delivered back to the customer so they can put it back together and make this thing a race car. Alright, so it's the next morning. We're going to get this thing untaped, get the doors hung back on the car, and get it ready to deliver. The Boxster's all finished. We've got it loaded on a trailer, so all that's left to do is for me to deliver it back to Atlanta Speedworks.
I don't really need a reason to drink, but it sure is nice to have a story to tell the arresting officer.
All right, so that's going to be about it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and this is the first time you're ever seeing me, consider subscribing and ringing that bell notification. That way you won't miss any future content. If you have any thoughts or questions, leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya!